Good morning. I'm smiling, watching all the things on my dashboards. My dashboards. Good morning. Hello, Bliss Collective. Hello there, world. How are you? It's another hump day, means another hump day. Happy chat. Yay, yay, yay. My name is Valerie Shepard. I am the founder and CEO of the Hartley Center for Mindfulness and Self-Mastery, where it's all about mastering you in your life so that you can exquisitely manage whatever your life brings your way. And today we're going to be talking about some of the things your life brings your way that may require you to have a bounce back skill, or as some people say, a bounce forward skill. I'm talking about your capacity for resilience. Your capacity for resilience. So, first, thank you very much for joining me. If you're joining me on the replay, please put hashtag replay in the comment box and say hello. Let me know you're out there. And especially, I really love hearing your questions or your comments. If you have some ideas for what you'd like me to cover next, you have some questions, some burning questions that are in your mind or heart about how do you create the life of your dreams, what we call in the Bliss Collective high vibe living. High vibe means your vibration is high, and the power of that is that when your vibration is high, you're, through the law of attraction, law of reflection, law of karma, all of that, what you attract, what you experience in your outer world matches that high vibration of what you have in this inner instrument. So this is what we're all about. High vibe living, self-mastery is the key to taking you there. And this skill that we're going to talk about today, this ability to dance with your life from a place of capacity for resilience, is a powerful tool in your toolkit. So let's talk about it. So when you think about resilience, that there are some basic definitions that are basically recovering from difficult situations. It's like your you might think of it as your bounce back ability, the ability to spring back into shape. Having had a brain hemorrhage, one of the things I've gotten to understand better is the concept of brain plasticity. And plasticity is a similar concept to resilience. It's the ability to move back into a different shape. So, brain plasticity is the ability of your neural networks in your brain to change through growth and over time. And there are neuroplasticians who believe that the brain can do that, and there are others who believe the brain can't. And so, dealing with neurologists over the last several years and their different philosophies around this idea of my brain only has a certain capacity, a certain ability to shift, and others who believe as long as I'm alive, I can teach my brain to shift and realign and even build around certain points that may have been healed beyond repair in my brain. It's really cool how we can program our brains with new neural pathways so that we can live a much fuller life than maybe the one that we're seeing right now. So I'm still working on that in my full recovery process. I'm still working on all of the ways around in my brain some of the physiological challenges that I still have, and I'm completely committed to 100% recovery at some point. We'll see how it all unfolds. But back to the main topic. So when you think about this whole idea of resilience, capacity is a little bit different than just the plain old bouncing back, right? So capacity, and I like this definition from the Heart Math Institute. I am a practitioner of Heart Math. I'm not certified in it, but I'm a practitioner and a trainer, and a utilizer, a user of heart math principles and heart math practices. And I really believe in it because of the power of the heart, the intuitive self, the intuitive brain, the intuitive mind to guide me on my journey and to guide my clients and students on their respective journeys. And Heart Math Institute does scientific studies to prove its premises around the ability of the heart to be a guidance system and a guidance tool. And I'm a big lover of data. So anything that gets like scientifically proven and scientifically underpinned with a body of data and an expanding and growing, evolving body of data, I'm all in. So the heart math definition of resilience is the capacity to prepare for, recover from, and adapt in the face of stress, adversity, trauma, or tragedy. So let me give that to you again. The capacity to prepare for, recover from, and adapt in the face of stress, adversity, trauma, or tragedy. Now, the power of the word capacity added to this idea of resilience. So, capacity for resilience is you as the instrument, it's you as this container in which, through which, resilient behaviors come, resilient behaviors are expressed. So your capacity for resilience has to do with more than just your head knowledge of the definition of resilience. Your capacity for resilience is about you being a container, and how big a container are you for understanding and operationalizing, which is also embodying, operationalizing the actual tools, skills, the expression of resilience. So when you think about resilience as your ability to adapt, your ability to recover from, your ability to even prepare for, when you think about that, your capacity is going to have to do with how much time you've given yourself to put skill sets together that support and serve you through those kinds of times. So you might think of this as, if you're, let's say, I'm a soccer player in my previous life. I'm a soccer player, and when I think about being on the soccer pitch, I know there's a lot of preparation. There's preparation for the different positions on the pitch. There's preparations that I might do differently depending on physiologically how I'm feeling, where my growth is, the skill set of the team that we're going to face in competition that week. There are a number of different things I will look at from a preparing standpoint and preparing my capacity. How much more training do I do on one skill versus another skill relative to this outcome that I'm wanting to deliver in my mind, in my life? And this outcome in any given moment is a victory. You with me? Okay, so when you're talking about this preparing for resilience, so it's not about, people think when they think about some of the things I do, so Living Happy to Be Me, the title of my book, when I have my Lighten Up and Let Go events, when I do my happiness sabbatical retreats, when we produce the Wholeness Palooza, which is coming up, when we do these things, that it's all about just being happier. And it's really about knowing what it takes to be that happier, knowing what it takes to be in the high vibration, knowing what's required, and then being that. Being that. So your capacity is, how capable are you of bringing this to fruition in your life? How capable are you of like flipping the switch? I've been working with my spiritual counselor on this idea of flipping the switch. So when I get into lower vibration expression, how fast can I flip the switch and take myself to a higher vibration. And that's not necessarily going from upset and anger to bliss. It might just be going from upset and anger to neutrality. Can I just hold my space in neutrality? And that capacity to do that, to go from 0 to 60 in a certain amount of time, and to do that over and over and over, no matter what shows up, no matter how tired we are, how upset we are, what is happening or what is not happening, who's present, who's not present. Like, that's the capacity. When we talk about what is your capacity for resilience, it's about looking at that in you, not in your life, in you. The ability to deal with the life circumstance, the situational dynamics in your life is you, and how well you are prepared and what you're doing to flex that muscle, to grow that neural pathway, to get into a new, deeply divine space of being you in your life, where you are making choices for your life to unfold at the highest vibration, at the highest level. So your capacity is what you want to build when you're trying to build resilience. When you're committed to saying that I can handle anything, it's not about toughing through it. It's really not about that. It's not about making things happen. It's really not about that. It's about how can you interact with what's showing up exactly as it is. I talk about self-mastery as mastering you, meaning that the things in your outer life don't have to change. And in many cases, you don't have control over whether they change or not. I mean, we can just look at the last 16 months to 2 years when people have been up in arms about COVID and how it's completely shifted their lives, and in ways that they did not have the ability to control and or change. And so when you're facing those kind of situations and they show up in everyone's life, there are situations in everyone's life every single day. We have no capacity to change. We have no power to change. So when we're dealing with those situations, the only thing that gets us through, the only thing that gets us through is our ability to manage our ability to get through. Get that? Your ability to manage you getting through. So resilience. Here's some perspective on what do resilient people do. They're very aware of the situation. So they're not in the past or in the future. They're in the now. They're very aware of the dynamics in the situation. They're very tuned in to their own emotional reactions. So they can sit in a moment and feel the reaction that's coming up and know that it's not because they said something. It's not their fault. It's not, well, if you would stop doing that, then I wouldn't react this way. No, they know their own emotional reactions are theirs. They're coming from inside of them. They take personal responsibility. So resilient people are in personal responsibility. So they take responsibility for their reactions to the situation, and they take responsibility for their ability to shift the situation or their response to it. Shifting what they can, knowing the difference between what I can change and what I can't change, and then managing myself through it. So that's the personal responsibility. And they're also aware of the behaviors of those around them. And they know how to interact, how to interject, how to be a part of everything that's going on, even from a safe space of knowing that this is the way I'm going to handle it right now. And I'm going to give myself the greatest opportunity for the greatest return on that investment to deal with difficult situations and difficult people within those situations from a place of composure, from a place of self-regulation. That is a heart math word, self-regulation, emotional self-regulation. So I can manage myself through the difficulties that are within myself. So when you think of some things that help with resilience, right? So one thing is in this place of physiological and emotional self-regulation. So we already mentioned being aware of you and yourself and the kinds of dynamics going on inside you. And one of them is to learn to disconnect from it. In heart math, it's called a freeze frame. So you would, in your ability to tap back into calm, expand your capacity for resilience, is to detach from whatever has you so upset. Detach from it. Detach from your idea that you have to fix it. Detach from your idea that it's wrong. Something's wrong here. One of the things that I use to detach myself from the appearance of something's wrong here is I remind myself that everything is very, very right. Everything is in divine order. Just saying that one time, I can feel my inner sanctuary calm a little bit. The relaxation kicks in to just get to a space of, it's not so bad. Everything, all is well here. Everything is very, very right. So, taking care of your mind and body requires that you have a relaxation practice. We talk about this a lot in the Bliss Collective, a lot on my Hump Day Happy Chats. You getting practiced and skilled in your ability to relax yourself, calm your nerves, take a chill pill, as we used to say, which is connecting to the body and the breath. Take a few deep breaths. If you can, audibilize the exhale. Ah. That audibilizing just seems to take the body into an even deeper place of relaxation. That helps you calm yourself and get into an even greater sleep routine, greater physiological relaxation technique. So, relaxation, detachment, come up with a way to detach. I love affirmations that are in the opposite direction. So, if I'm feeling myself sliding away into anger and frustration, how can I bring myself back to a place of calm with, I am in complete calm? I can address any situation from a place of calm in my heart, mind, body, and spirit. Everything is very, very right here. Another thing that you can do is practice your thought awareness, like start to capture. People, one of the things that I used to have my students do in my Living 101 class is I would time them for 30 seconds and I would ask them to count the number of thoughts that go through their head, just random thoughts, without attaching to the thought, just count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They range anywhere from a very practiced, thought aware person might have 3 to 5, and someone whose mind was sort of running on autopilot and oftentimes running them amok would have 30, 40, 50 thoughts in 30 seconds. So think about that. When your mind is running on autopilot, it can be running you ragged. There's so many things going on in there. And the mind is doing what it's supposed to do. The brain processes. It is a supercomputer on steroids, and we only use a little bit of our brain. You have to get superiority over the brain doing its natural brainiac thing. And that takes practice. And so you simply have to come into alignment and hear and notice, and then go into the responsibility for quieting everything down. Oh, there's a thought. I'll just let it go. Oh, there's another thought. I'll just let it go. Practicing thought awareness so that you can be conscious, very conscious of what are your pervasive, what are your personalized, what kinds of thoughts are you thinking most often. And then how do you shift those in order to grow your capacity for coming into right alignment or resilience? You might need to do some cognitive restructuring, which is your um, reframing of what you consider a negative situation. So I know people who are always in pain. They don't want to talk about situations in their life because it's so painful. Well, that is a cognitive structure around a certain dynamic. They are labeling the dynamic painful. And as we label something, so it is. So if they could get to a different way of experiencing that situation, a different way of labeling it, maybe their experiencing of the experience would be different as well. So can you stop labeling things from a past cognitive structuring that is negative and triggering and get to a space of, well, so this situation is unexpected. So I might not be shocked, but I might say, well, I wasn't expecting this, and I'm curious to see how it's going to unfold. Instead of, oh my God, this is horrible. What do I do with this? So look in your world for the ways you have cognitively structured your response to situations, cognitively structured situations in your life from a particular point of view, and then see what's possible. Get curious about what more is possible if I reframe that, if I restructure my cognitive labeling of what I'm going through. As you've consciously restructured, you put yourself in a place to consciously choose your response to the dynamic. Consciously choose it rather than having what's called a knee-jerk reaction, where the reaction just comes out of you. Something triggers you and you just blast off a response. When you put into practice these two dynamics of cognitive restructuring, along with a conscious choice, you give yourself completely different capacity, a much greater capacity for experiencing things that aren't so what we want and responding in a way that is holistic, responding from a way that is, the word's not coming to me, nurturing, that is life giving, that is positive, that is a little more equanimous, neutral. Ah, so it is, so it isn't. Ah, there it is, there it isn't. Ah. The other thing that happens from a place of capacity for resilience. So when we talk about getting knocked off our feet, so we thought we were headed some way and the road completely shifted and there was nothing we could do about it. So I hear this from people who, like, for example, are defending a dissertation and their dissertation defense doesn't go well and their committee asks them to go back and do some more work. Well, they were headed down a path that they thought was going to be about graduating. And now they've gotten to hold the bus. That can be very traumatic. People who thought they were headed down a certain path in a relationship, and then that path changes, and it has nothing to do with anything they did. There are dynamics that they are just unable to change. So, this building this capacity allows you to shift your goals, like to immediate say, oh, okay, so this has changed. Now, how would I like to do it? Now, what is it that I'm working toward? Now, how is that? How is that still absolutely perfect? It's not on the timing that I thought it would be on, and yet I'm trusting and allowing and receiving this new dynamic that's unfolding to be as perfect as the one that I had in my head, that I was so positive was the way it was absolutely supposed to go. If it was going to be for my highest good, it must be this way. And our capacity for resilience says, well, that was my plan then, given what I know and see unfolding in my life in the here and now, present moment awareness, given these things, I'm going to shift this way so that I can meet what's coming up with my highest capacity for my best outcome by flowing and expressing my highest vibration self into the situation. And when you put these tips and tools together, you end up watching yourself, becoming aware of yourself, doing resilience better, faster, deeper. You notice yourself. Remember, noticing is a superpower of the high vibration liver, not your physiological liver, but a liver of a high vibration life. This capacity for resilience is supported by noticing. Noticing is a superpower of self-mastery. Self-awareness, self-acceptance, and self-love are fueled by noticing you in your life. Noticing you. How do you think? What drives you? What's showing up? What triggers you? Where do those triggers come from? That's noticing you. We're very adept at noticing everything else. We have to be practiced at noticing ourselves. And in growing your capacity for resilience, this noticing your expansive nature in handling the dynamics of your life exactly as they are, with these resilience tips and tools, will grow your capacity, greater capacity for resilience, your Gumby-like flexibility to be powerful in your own life, no matter what shows up. No matter what shows up. So if you have questions about anything in this Hump Day Happy Chat, please remember to type them into the comment boxes. And if you have other kinds of questions that I'm not currently addressing with the topic that I'm addressing, or that you want to address a different topic, please let me know. Your participation, your feedback helps me help you at an even higher and deeper level. And that is my mission and vision on the planet. We are a community on a mission to change the world to more happiness, love, peace, joy, and freedom. And so we're in this together. And I would benefit from your input and your help. That's this week's episode of my weekly live Hump Day Happy Chat. We are raising consciousness across the planet through a ripple effect of love and light. You can do that by inviting more people to join us in this dance called the Bliss Collective here in this group on Facebook. We've got some events coming up. Tomorrow we have our meeting your future self, and how do you leverage your future self perspective in your living in the here and now. That's a class that we're going to be doing tomorrow. And we have other events and fun things coming up, and so we hope that you will participate with us. I always close the Hump Day Happy Chat with the Metta Prayer, or the Karanaya Metta Sutra, which is the prayer of loving kindness from the Buddha. I love this prayer. I encourage you to say it multiple times a day. It'll fuel you with love and light. May all beings be peaceful. May all beings be safe. May all beings be happy. Yay! May all beings awaken to the light of their true nature. Your true nature is peace, love, joy, and freedom. And resilience is part of that. May all beings awaken to the light of their true nature, and may all beings be free. That's emotional freedom, not political freedom. It's emotional. May you be free from the wounds and hurts of your past. May you be free from low consciousness, low vibration thinking. May you be free from the vortexes of anger and hate and blame and shame and punishment that exist in the world, but that you do not need to be a part of. May all beings be free. So grateful for this time with you. Many blessings. Happy, happy Hump Day. Bye now.